1 in 4 singles in 2026 are now showing up to first dates with zero filters, zero performance, zero facade. A trend researchers are calling true casting, and it's working. Not because authenticity is some warm, fuzzy concept, because women's nervous systems are wired to detect incongruence. And the moment she senses you're performing, her brain categorizes you as a threat, not a partner. Here's the problem. Most men think respect is earned by impressing her. Better car, better jokes, better stories. But respect doesn't come from what you display. It comes from what you refuse to fake. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact 7 habits that trigger an immediate involuntary response in women, habits grounded in behavioral neuroscience that most men will never adopt because they feel counterintuitive. Every single one of them. Something fundamental has shifted. Plenty of Fish's 2026 research found that 25% of singles are now actively pursuing partners outside their traditional physical type, choosing charisma and emotional presence over looks. Tinder's data shows 64% of young singles now demand what they call clear coding, explicit, upfront honesty about who you are and what you want. The performance era isn't just ending, it's being actively punished, and yet most dating content is still teaching men to perform. Project status, manufacture mystery, run conversational techniques. That advice was built for a world that no longer exists. In 2026, where over 60% of young men have functionally stepped back from dating entirely. The men who do show up with genuine, grounded presence aren't competing. They're practically alone on the field. So here are the exact 7 habits that generate immediate, visceral respect from women, not because you're trying to earn it, but because these habits rewire how she unconsciously categorizes you. Number 1, the unhurried response. Most men rush to respond. She finishes a sentence, and within half a second, he's already talking. His brain interprets speed as enthusiasm. Her brain interprets it as neediness. When you pause for 3 to 4 seconds after she finishes speaking before you respond, something specific happens neurologically. That silence signals to her limbic system that you're processing, not performing. Behavioral research shows this type of measured response is associated with lower cortisol and higher perceived status. She reads you as grounded. Try this. The next conversation you have, not even with a woman, with anyone, count silently 2, 3 after they finish speaking before you open your mouth. You'll feel uncomfortable the first few times. That discomfort is the old pattern breaking. But pausing is only half the equation. What you do with your body during that pause matters even more. Number 2, the stillness default. Attraction is biologically assessed within 100 milliseconds, and the primary input isn't your face or your clothes. It's your posture and movement quality, fidgeting, shifting weight, touching your face. These micro movements are cortisol markers. Her nervous system reads them as stress signals before her conscious mind even registers you exist. Stillness communicates the opposite. Controlled, fluid, unhurried movement tells her autonomic nervous system that you are safe and histatus simultaneously. Not because you're posing, because genuine stillness only comes from a regulated internal state. Here's the practice. Next time you're standing in line anywhere, plant your feet shoulder width apart. Let your arms hang naturally. Resist every urge to check your phone or shift your weight. Hold that for 60 seconds. That's 1 rep. Do 5 a day for a week. Now, those first 2 habits are physical. The next one is where respect starts becoming psychological. Number 3, the honest disqualifier. Here's what true-casting actually looks like in practice. When she mentions a topic you know nothing about, most men fake familiarity. They nod along. They throw in vague agreement. She always notices, not consciously, but her brain logs the incongruence, and trust erodes silently. The habit that generates instant respect. Voluntarily disqualifying yourself from expertise you don't have. I actually don't know much about that. What got you into it? This one sentence does 3 things simultaneously. It demonstrates security, it shows intellectual honesty, and it hands out the conversational lead on her own territory, which triggers the dopamine reward of being genuinely heard. This is not about self-deprecation. Never confuse the two. You're not putting yourself down. You're refusing to put up a front. The distinction matters. Number 4, the unfinished story. Most men overshare to prove value. They finish every story. They deliver every punchline. They leave zero mystery. The neuroscience of intermittent variable rewards shows that unpredictable information gaps create stronger engagement than complete narratives. When you tell a story but don't need to finish it, when you casually redirect before the payoff, you communicate something rare. Your validation doesn't depend on her reaction to your story. Practice this at your next social event. Tell a story, and right before the big moment, pivot. Actually, that's a long one. I want to hear about your thing. Watch what happens. She almost always pull you back to finish. And now she's investing in you. If you've stayed with me this far, you already understand more about respect dynamics than most men ever will. But these next three, these are the ones that separate understanding from embodiment. Number 5, the disagree and hold. 64% of singles now demand clear communication of intentions and positions. Clear coding isn't just a dating trend. It's a filter. Women in 2026 are actively screening for men who state what they actually think. When she says something you disagree with and you agree anyway to keep the peace, she doesn't feel comfortable. She feels alone because she knows on a level she may not articulate that a man who won't hold a position in conversation won't hold one when it matters. The habit, disagree warmly and hold. I actually see that differently than explain your perspective without apologizing for having it. New aggression, no debate club energy, just calm, clear, owned perspective. This is one of the fastest respect generators that exist because it's so rare. But there's a critical ethical line here. This is about having genuine opinions, not manufacturing disagreement as a tactic. If you agree with her, say so. Authenticity works in both directions. Number 6, the public attention redirect. This one surprises most men. When you receive attention in a group and redirect it towards someone else, genuinely, not performatively, it triggers a specific psychological response. Emotional contagion research shows that generosity of attention is one of the most powerful status signals in social primates, including humans. She watches how you handle being seen. If you absorb all attention, she categorizes you as hungry for it. If you redirect it naturally, her nervous system registers you as someone who has so much internal security that external validation is surplus. Next time someone compliments you in a group, try, thanks. But honestly, the person's name is the one who made it happen. Mean it, she's watching. Not your words. Your reflexes. Number 7, the walkaway.com. This is the hardest one and the most transformative. When an interaction isn't working, she's not engaged. The energy's off. The timing is wrong. Most men escalate effort. They talk more, try harder, push through. Every second of that effort erodes respect because it signals that her approval is something you cannot walk away from. The habit, recognize when an interaction is peaked and leave it with warmth and zero desperation. It was great talking to you, said with a genuine smile and an unhurried exit. No lingering. No last-ditch attempt. This works because of a deep biological principle. Respect and attraction both require the perception that you have options, not because you're performing abundance, but because a man who can walk away calmly is communicating that his emotional state isn't dependent on this one moment. That is security, and security is the foundation of every form of respect. Here's what most content won't tell you. These 7 habits don't work in isolation. They compound. When you master the unhurried response and the stillness default and the disagree and hold, the combined signal is exponentially more powerful than any single change. You're not checking boxers. You're building a nervous system signature that women read as genuine, grounded, safe, and have value all at once. And this is the critical distinction. You're not performing respect-worthy behavior. You're becoming someone who naturally operates this way. That shift from technique to identity is the difference between a man who understands attraction and a man who embodies it. None of this is about manipulation. Understanding how psychology works doesn't make you a manipulator any more than understanding nutrition makes you a cheat. You're becoming genuinely better, more present, more honest, more grounded. The respect you earn from that isn't a trick. It's a consequence. Remember, 1 in 4 singles are already showing up with radical authenticity. The performance era is over. The men who understand that aren't learning tricks. They're unlearning the need to perform it all. Here's your challenge. Pick one habit from this list, just one, and practice it for the next 7 days. If you chose the unhurried response, count to 3 before you speak in every conversation this week. That's it. One habit, 1 week. Drop a comment and tell me which one you're starting with. And if you want to go deeper with men who are actually doing this work, the Discord link is in the description. The conversations happening there will sharpen everything you just learned. And if you want to understand the exact conversation patterns that make these habits 10 times more powerful, watch this video next.